Hello everybody, Corey here. I'm going to go over the trades and holdings for the YieldMax single stock ETFs and YBIT for 23 July. Just a reminder, I'm not a qualified investment or financial advisor. I just gather the data and bring it to you. YieldMax ETFs are extremely risky. Please make sure you've read through the prospectus, understand these risks, and the fact that you could lose your capital. And we're going to do this. I think I did this the same way the other day. I've got all the trades basically here on this one screen for us to go over. Basically for NVDA there at the top, you can see they added 1,700 contracts to the synthetic and short call. And then for JPMO here, they closed out the short calls that expired this week with the 222.50 strike price. They only paid 3 cents to close those, so that's why they closed them so early. And then now they have moved these to next Friday, bringing in some extra income there. Same thing with AMDY, the ones for this week with the 175 strike price, moved them to next week. Next Friday expiration with 172.50 strike price. And then DIPS, our new short income ETF here for NVDA. So this is, the starting positions for this fund with 203 contracts. So all the data, you can see it here on the screen. Feel free to pause this or whatever if you want to go more in depth here. Of course, we'll look at all the holdings, the current holdings here. Let me scroll to the top. We'll start with ABNY. For those that are new, we will go in alphabetical order through the regular single stock ETFs. The long ones, then we'll do the short ones. So then right after that, we'll have, I can't even think of what they are, Crash, Dips, and Fiat. And then after that, we'll have YBIT, since it still only has covers one ETF at this point, or has one ticker in its portfolio at this point. All right, and then of course, if you're also new for the synthetic positions, we want the stock price for the non-short ones. We want the stock price to be above the synthetic and below or near the short call. So basically, in this case, if you're looking here, we would want it between the 145 and the 152.50 strike price. Yep, and that's just to give you a quick rundown there. The other stuff may or may not be self-explanatory. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and then I'll just elaborate on it the next video. I know the people that do watch this are usually a lot of the same people. So just let me know if you're new or have any questions. Anyway, again, also if you're new, I won't read through everything here. I'm going to read through the short calls. We'll look through these, and then if we have any other options that will be expiring this week. So here for ABNY, we had the short call. All of these will expire this week unless shows otherwise. I did change the color code. So, of course, red expires this week, yellow is the next week, and green is the next week. I don't think we have any further out than that. If we do, it probably isn't color-coded. So, 152.50 strike price for Airbnb. We're currently underneath that 2%. Looks like we have about a 51-cent upside here for the short calls for ABNY. AIYY, we have a short call with a $31 strike price. We're currently underneath this 8%. Possible upside of 97 cents for AIYY for the short calls. AMDY. So we have 3 short calls here, 2 that expire this week, and then 1 that expires next week. So we have 160, 175, and 172.50 strike prices. So we're underneath those 4, 11, and 12%. I'm surprised they didn't close that one out today, looking at some of the other ones, because that one shows, well, that would have been at the end of day also, that it would only cost 4 cents to close this one out. However, it probably wasn't like that during the day. I think the market, it was actually green during the day, and then it ended up red at the end of the day. My goodness. So anyway, let's look here. So majority of our short calls are between the 172.50 and the 175 strike prices. Wow. So we're like underneath that $20-something. I was trying to figure out why this was saying $1.79 upside. I mean, that would be great, right? If AMD could get up there, it'd be great for AMDY. Actually, sorry, moving my pillow around. It would actually give it a chance for AMDY to get back up after the drop in the chip stocks and everything tanking. I just don't know that it's going to happen, unfortunately. But yeah, both of these would give, which would be awesome, because I've bought, I don't know that I'd say quite a bit, but I know I bought some of the AMDY as it was dropping. Of course, I also bought AMD. But anyway, so looking here, we're looking at, a dollar, a dollar or so upside here. But you know what? That's actually wrong now that I think about it, because I think originally this one was coded as a synthetic, and then I had to go back and change my codes. And therefore, this calculation wasn't based on this existing. I know it's weird because you don't know how all of my stuff works here, but let's look to see if it's still over here. Sorry, this isn't, I don't have this actually set up to really look at. Yeah, see, I knew something wasn't right. And that's because, so that one was adding the 2, basically. Once this was added, it sort of split out. But that's good, so that gives, it still could get up to about $1.70 upside there for that. Alright. I'm just clearing it just because I know that that's wrong. Let's go on to AMZ here. So it looks like it came up a few dollars today, but we do have 3 short calls that expire. We have the 187.50, the 195, and the 197.50 there. Of course, we're just $1 underneath this one, but if we could come up on these, that would be really good for AMZ. And you can see that the shares are split between these 2. Of course, they're only $2.50 a piece, or the difference between those are $2.50. So they're not that far apart there. But you can see we have some upside for those. And then if we move on to Apple here, you can see we have 3 short calls. We have the 230, 232.50, and the 235. So we're underneath those 2, 3, and 4%. The majority of the contracts are sitting at that 232.50 there. Looking at about 37 cent upside for that. So it looks like, well, Apple only came up about $1 today, so Apple was only about 9 cents, so that makes some sense there. All right, let's move on up to Coney. So we have the short call that expires Friday with a 275 strike price. We're underneath that by 6%. But we have an upside possible up here of about $1.30 if sorry, just looking over here at these other numbers. If coin could get up to 275, we can see though yesterday we were actually at 265 and we dropped quite a bit today. But overall, still looking pretty decent here. Looking at our synthetic and everything, it's not too bad. All right, but yeah, if we can actually get up that high, which then makes me wonder, because I don't even know, honestly, how high Coney's gotten. I think I actually sold out, and I said Coney, I meant coin. I think I sold out of my coin in one of my accounts the other day. Let's see, if we look at a 52-week high, 283 is the highest that it's been. Yeah, so that's not historically the highest. It's been up to like 360. When was that? 2021. But it was that 283 was around March time frame. It looks like. I can't with all the numbers here. Sorry, I'm on my phone. I forget to set my iPad up so I could do that without all of my account numbers and everything showing. But yeah, it looks like it got up to 283 on March 25th. I just so happened to also sell some shares that day, thank goodness. So we'll see if we can get up there. I know it seemed like, we were going to start getting up there and it was going to break out. MicroStrategy was getting up, and then it's dropped down the past few days. So I'm not sure what's going on here. But Coney itself has actually done pretty good, because I'm pretty sure this was just down at $19 the other day. Of course, it was up to 21 yesterday. Yeah, in fact, it was at $18 at the beginning of the month. But yeah, 2 days ago, this thing was at 19, because yeah, I even bought some. So it's still doing pretty decent. Anyway, let's move on. Sorry, I start looking at prices and I can't see this and track all of this in depth every day. So then I don't always know what's going on here. Or I don't hear about them in the middle of the day. Anyway, let's move on to Dizzo. Disney, by the way, went down today, if you haven't heard. I heard them tell me a story during the day on why they thought it was down, but when I looked at news stories, there were other news stories on why it could have been down. So I don't know if we know the real reason here. But Disney was down over 3%, over $3 today. The only news article I'm seeing was talking about, something about Comcast and sympathy with Comcast. But then I heard later, or not later, before that I saw this, I heard on my trading thing them talking about Disney was down because the biggest shareholder, I guess, or something in Disney, they ended up selling out of all of their shares. But looking under announcements, it's been 4 days since I see a 8K was the last thing. That was the departure of a board member. So I'm not really sure, but something was going on because it has dropped significantly. And I say that it's actually been dropping for several days now. And it sucks because I've actually been buying into it to the last few days as well. It looks like it did get down today at one point to 89.83, which I haven't seen 80s in a minute. Yeah, since the beginning of the year was when we were in the 80s. We got all the way, believe it or not, we got all the way up to 123.74 in April. So, anyway, this did make me think of Universal Studios, which is the vacation I just came back from. So then I was like, oh, if I'm buying Disney, I should buy Universal stock. So I ended up buying me a few shares of those. Not that any of you care. But apparently I should have dropped this. I'm guessing they had earnings last month or something. They had dropped down significantly. Anyway, so we were talking about it dropping. So we're down to 90. It shows we closed at 90.94, but like I said, we were down to 89 something. We were down at $1 less than that at some point today. But our short calls that expire this week, we're at $99 and 100 strike prices. We're underneath those 8 and 9%. Now at the end of the day, we were at 3 cents a share. So and you look, so we can look there or we can look here. It would only cost us $6,000 to close those out. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't close out of these. I think I said the word sale, and I apologize if I did. But they may close out of these positions tomorrow if they're still this cheap, and go ahead and push them to next week and lower those strike prices. So see that coming, but as of right now, they're at that $99 and $100 strike prices. Of course, unfortunate, which of course we are a couple of months away from this, so that's pretty good, but we have a $95 strike price for our synthetic position, so we're underneath those 4%. Anyway, let's move on to Phoebe. Phoebe here, looks like not much happened with Meta today, or Phoebe for that matter. Just a few cents, but we have a short call here, $4.95 strike price. We're underneath that 1%. Possible upside of 23 cents here for Phoebe. We have GDXY. We have two short calls, one that expires this week, one that expires next week, but they both have the same strike price of $38.50. According to this, GDX yesterday and today are the exact same price, which is interesting because, well, GDXY went up 7 cents, but we are 1 day closer to expiration, so that's probably why. We're looking at about 54-cent upside at this point for GDXY if GDX can go up, which it only needs to go up $1 to hit that or be near that strike price. GUI, so I'm sure all of you that follow this one follow the earnings. It's funny, these prices are only a few cents apart. After hours, if you watch this, you saw it go way down, then go way up, and then come back down, and then I'm pretty sure it went back up again before it went back down. And now I'm not talking like within 5 to 10 minutes after the close or after earnings came out, like normal. I mean like over an hour or hours. That's usually not normal. It was like that with several, not exactly like this. This one was really significant, but I watched a lot of the earnings plays after hours with Tesla and Enphase and Visa, and honestly, it just seemed like nobody really knew what it wanted to do. But this one was really weird compared to how earnings things normally go. But all that to say, and Google was down in after hours at the end, even though we thought it was going to end up, it ended up going back down later and closed at 177.83. So not sure what's in store for this one tomorrow. I actually ended up getting a share at 175 when it tanked the first go around. Of course, it doesn't look like it's going to be that great of a deal if it keeps going back down. Just glancing here. Let's see if there's any reports here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I'll hear more tomorrow. Ad sale growth slows in second quarter. There's just so many things, right, that can be reported on with Google. It could be anything. So anyway, with the 195 strike price, we're currently underneath that 7%. Of course, that was at the end of the day. We're probably more like 10% or something now. But, I mean, it gives us some upside of a possible 118. But we will see. This does expire this week. I'm surprised. I guess the price is up to 159 because of earnings today. So this one's not going to be like some of the others where they could possibly close it out early. It may have to wait till closer to Friday on that one. JPMO, this one's just like shocking because there's like 5 short calls. This has got to be a record for JPMO. So we have 5 short calls here. 215, one for this week, one for next week. 217.50 for next week. And then a 220 and a 222.50 for this week. So we're anywhere from 2 to 5% below the strike prices. Now, and this is the one, yeah, that they actually closed some of these out. Let's just check this out. I know we looked at these earlier. So they closed those for 3 cents. I'm not sure why they did a portion. I'm not really, I don't know. But they'll probably do the rest tomorrow of these because or even all of, well, not all of them, but this one, 2 cents. The remaining, it shows at the end of today anyway, it was 2 cents to close these out, 3 cents to close these out. So these may be closed out tomorrow. This one probably not so much. But yeah, I would expect those to be closed out. And these are going to be wrong. This is going to be similar to what I said earlier. These bottom ones were coded as synthetics before because of the new date. So let's look over here real quick because these are still have formulas in it. I don't know. Maybe it was. I guess it was right. Alright. I could have sworn. Okay. It just doesn't make sense. Well, okay, so that does have 305 and that has 245. I just saw that both of those said 22 cents. And we have 14 and 11. But that is a lot of upside. If you look at that, I know it's one of them's like, I know it's only 5%, but it's like $12. And that's not normal for JPMO. I know they had earnings a few weeks ago. I say a few weeks ago. I guess it's been a couple of weeks now. Or at least it's felt like that long. No, I looked up the wrong one. JPM. It's already showing on here. Their next earnings, October 11th. It's interesting. Most of this stuff is not in English for some reason. Yeah, there's too many things to read here. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, usually JPMO's not that much off. These, I'm just wondering when these were initially put on because they're so far away. But anyway, it doesn't matter, right? Those are strike prices. Our stocks are all over the place. These are probably going to move here. So you're probably only looking at this 14 cent up, these 14-cent upside basically here for the short call, because I almost guarantee they're going to close those out tomorrow, move them here. So I'm sorry, I am spending way too much time on these today. All right, so we have Murney here. Two short calls expire this week. We have the 126 straight price and 130. We're underneath these by 4 and 7%. Looks like a possible upside of 57 cents here for the short call if we can get up to the 126 strike price. But I guess we'd have to go up for that. We got about $4 there. Usually this one may go up slightly or down slightly unless there's some kind of new news on this one. Some kind of positive or negative news for this. But yeah, which doesn't happen a lot there. MSFO. Two short calls for Friday, 450 and 457.50 strike price. We're under those 1 and 3% and looking about 24-cent upside for the short calls for MSFO. All right, and then we have Misty. So we closed today at 30.12. That's just crazy because I could have sworn I saw Misty lower than that today when MicroStrategy was higher than that today. Of course, we're still above the strike price. We're at $16.75. I think yesterday we were up to over 1,800. I think we got to 1,813. It was the highest I saw it, I believe. And I didn't sell out because, maybe it was going to get back up, but yeah. You can see today we went from 1,800 down to 1,721. So we'll see. It's sort of, of course, Bitcoin did come down a couple of thousand today also. But we're only over that strike price by about, oh wow, not quite $50, but the price, if we needed to close that out, we're looking at like 80. So we'll see what happens over the next few days here. Oh, I was fixing to say, how is it Wednesday? Because it's over past midnight. All right. And this one also, I was wondering why they had so much money sitting in cash versus it sitting in the money market, and it's still there. All right, I think I looked at that the other day. I was looking at these being exactly the same, but the market value is showing they're exactly the same. Got it. All right. So obviously no upside for the short calls here. Of course, that doesn't mean that it still can't go up. The short call market value, could go down tomorrow, or the synthetic can start going, being worth more It just depends. It's not always the case. It is a lot of the time, but not always. So just keep that in mind. All right. So then we have Nefli here. We have a short call, the 660 strike price. We're underneath that 3% and possible upside for Nefli short call for 44 cents. Then we have NVDA with 4 short calls. 124, 125, 126, and 127. We are underneath the strike prices by 1 to 3%, with a possible upside of about 36 cents here to get up to that 126 strike price. Then we have OARC with a short call of $48 strike price. We're currently underneath that 1%, which is only 24 cents, which only gives OARC about a 6 cents upside. I think ARC's done pretty good this week. And then we have PayPay. I don't know why it keeps going down, but PayPal keeps going down. Sorry, looking at these numbers. So we're just slightly underneath that synthetic. But anyway, it looks like so PayPay dropped 3 cents while PayPal dropped $1. All right. So the $61 strike price, we're underneath that $1.29 there, or 2%. Possible upside for PayPay of about 34 cents for the short call. And then we have a snowy here. We have 2 short calls with the 136 and 140 strike price. We're underneath those 3 and 5%. Possible upside of about 37 cents to get to the 136 strike price. It's funny though, because it's not too long ago we were over 140 and now we're all the way back down to 132. All right. So then we have SCOI here. Short call, $71 strike price. We're underneath that 6%. Possible upside of $1.12 here for SCOI for the short call. Then we have Tesla, filling up all of my cells here. We have 4 short calls. 262.50, 265, 267.50, and 282.50. And I'm like 100% sure all of you know the status of Tesla right now. And the fact that it had earnings and it went down. So they closed at 8 p.m. at 227 and some change. So yeah, that's our status. We will see tomorrow. But no real point of telling you the upside here when Tesla is going to go down based on the additional, $19 drop after hours and having no clue what's going to happen to the stock when it opens in the morning. So, sorry, that just reminded me. So that's what happened to Misty. The treasuries were gone. I remember that the other day. It has 1 treasury now, and all the rest of these have multiple treasuries. I probably already had looked at that before, and then I just couldn't remember why. I just knew it looked weird because it's like it's skinny. It's got fewer lines than all the rest of them. Sorry. All right. Then we have Zomo here with a 119 short call. This one actually dropped almost a couple of dollars today. I'm not exactly sure why, but everything oil related, I think, has basically dropped the last day or two. Of course, and there's a news article from 6 hours ago that says Exxon suffers a larger drop than the general market. So, I don't know. If I was listening to my one podcast, I'd probably know. Anyway, sorry, I'm not going to read all that. So anyway, we're 5% below our short call here. We're actually also below our synthetic strike price now as well. If we could get up to the 119 by Friday, which I doubt, we could come up about 78 cents here for that short call. All right, so now we are going to get into our short ETFs, and we have 3 of them starting tomorrow. So, however, with this said, I don't know, these until until we're in a down market where these are probably going down and everything else, these haven't looked, great so far, and a little scare me and not sure other people's thoughts are on these. But if you see here, Crash is down to less than $14 already. Of course, Dips hasn't started, and Fiat's already down. Well, it actually came up to 17.55 today. But just to watch these drop so quickly, it's very similar to Ulti. Of course, they have 2 totally different things, so you can't compare them as far as their strategy. But as far as the stock price, I mean, Crash hasn't been out that long, and look at its price. So be very, very careful on these. And I don't know that these shorts are going to survive as long as the others. And I don't know. Maybe it's just because Crash was first, and of course, Tesla came in a bad time. Crash came in a bad time. It's like Crash and, some of these are coming back after the fact of when we wanted them, right? Dips, this one may actually be coming at a decent time before it's actually dropped, right? NVIDIA's dropped. It's, not saying it has to drop. So for all of you NVIDIA bulls out there, but anyway, just please be careful with these. And if you haven't been following them already, if you look at how long they've been out and where their stock price is now, and think long and hard about these. All right, so of course these are going to be the opposite of the others. So for the others, we want the synthetic strike price, or we want the stock to be above the synthetic strike and below the short. In here, we want it to be the opposite. So, of course, then also we have a long call here as well, which I don't know what good it is, or if it's really done. I don't know, because it hasn't stopped. And maybe this is a conversation with Max, because it hasn't stopped Crash from crashing, right? I mean, we're down $6, and then I guess if you add back the dollar or whatever distribution, I think it's only had one. Then maybe $5, but $5, 25% over a month or so, that's a lot. Of course, now I feel bad if I'm stating wrong and it's been out 2 months, because with vacation and stuff, I have no freaking clue. So let me look real quick. Yep, it came out May 1st. So it's actually been out more than 2 months. So that means it must have had 2 distributions. Yes. About $1.70 and $1.75 about. So that's still, if you bought it in at 20, you're still down $4. But anyway, just be very careful with these. Of course, now, if you had this one, look, now I'm getting all happy because Tesla is going down, or did go down after hours in the morning. This one should be up. And after hours, it's only up $1 though. So just don't get too happy. It's up to $15. Of course, let me check to make sure those are even valid trades, right? Because I guess it got up to like 14.83, but it shows post market 15. But yeah, only see one share selling at 14.83. So I don't know, but if Tesla goes down, this will start going up. So now that I'm thinking about that, now I'm wondering how many shares I own, because I did start buying in before, right, when it was already down like an idiot, when it first came out, and Tesla was already down a lot. But I know a lot of people thought it was going to continue to go down some. And then instead, what did it do? It took off and went the total opposite direction, and yeah, the ETF has dropped a lot. Now I'm curious how many shares. I know I have too many, but this might give me a chance to make some money or get out of some. Oh, wow, I have way too many. All right. Yeah, because that happened, because I ended up buying into Crash and everything else, I have not bought into the fiat. Of course, it's only been out a couple of weeks now, and yeah, I saw it was already down $3. And me, watching MicroStrategy and believing it was going to go up, I definitely wasn't going to be buying in on this one. Of course, this is like, honestly, I probably should have, but I didn't actually see Coinbase get up to 265 yesterday, or else I might have, only because I haven't seen Coinbase get up this high. Of course, at the same time, I'm thinking Bitcoin's getting ready to take off, so it wouldn't have made sense for me to do it. I just didn't want to get stuck in the same situation that I got stuck in Crash with, and being, yeah, significantly down, like a 16% loss. And that's with me a dollar cost averaging down over the past month. So, yes, 16% down. So hopefully I gain some of that back tomorrow. Okay, anyway, I know, guys, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So we have these here. Looking at this, the short put 220 and 222.50. So at the close today, we're above these 11 and 12%. Like I said, as I saw earlier, Tesla was at 227. So we're going to get down closer to these. Yeah. But, we shouldn't. We could go up underneath these. I don't know. We'll have to see how the stock price goes tomorrow on these. But anyway, sorry. I don't know why I feel in a talkish mood and I should be going to sleep. It's 12. I guess I slept too much yesterday, going to sleep after work and then sleeping for 12 or 13 hours. Anyway, we have dips. We have our new one that's going to come out tomorrow. So you can see here where we're going to start out at. Our synthetics are at 123 strike prices. Our short put won't expire until next week. We have the 118 strike price there. And then we have a long call at 184 strike price. All right. And fiat. Like I said, you can see we went up 40 something cents today. I'm just looking over here. And coin went down almost $10. What happened up here? Up here, Tesla showed it went down $5 and Crash went up 25 cents. All right. Anyway, so we have the 225 at short put here, and we're currently above that 15%. All right, let's go down to YBit. I forget this one's down here. We have 2 short calls that expire Friday, with a 24 and 24.50 strike price. BITO went down today $1. So we're underneath those 4 and 6%. Possible upside over the next couple of days of about 34 cents here if we can get up to the $24 strike price. However, for those of you that were watching the Whitebit videos, once I combined it with this, I said something about, doing the weekly comparison of those other stocks that I were doing, or the ETFs I was doing, the price comparison and all of those, you know what I'm talking about if you're watching it. And then I feel bad because I forgot, just to do it. I think I did it like the first Friday that came around, maybe even the second, and then vacations and everything have happened, and I had forgot to do the comparison sheet. So I don't know. I'll either try to remember. I would show you right now, but I know that I don't have the data there because I'd have to go drag all the formulas and let that load. But and I don't have the distributions and stuff for all of those 8-10 stocks or ETFs, whatever it was. So I apologize for that, and I need to put that on my to-do list. But anyway, sorry for this extra long video today. I apologize, but I will talk with y'all later. Bye.